Good morning, everybody. We're just started a little early there, and we're just waiting for people to join. We've a big crowd this morning, so you're very, very welcome to this morning's webinar. Really looking forward to it. So we'll just give a few minutes just for people to join. Them joining in quite quickly, actually, so we shouldn't have to wait too long. We give an extra minute. Just get everybody on board. Just a few more coming in there. It's just 11 o'clock at the minute now, so we'll give it one more minute. We'll give it a minute past, and then we'll kick off. Because I know we've a packed schedule this morning, and we've been told we have to keep on track in no uncertain terms, so we won't waste any time. We've just give another few seconds. People are still joining in here, actually. Okay. Well, look, I think we'll make a start if that's okay with everybody. You're all very welcome to this morning's webinar. And my name is Paul Clancy, and I'm CEO of the Chamber. And we are delighted that so many of you could join us this morning, where we're discussing innovation for growth and the role of innovation in our recovery. You know, with the City Deal coming, now is the time to prepare your business. Research and technology is a catalyst for innovation, and the City Deal partners wish to showcase the great innovation that is happening in the region. And I'm really pleased to introduce you to Justin Quinn. Justin is Director of the Centre of Engineering and Renewable Energy at McGee and behind the CEDRA City Deal. And Tim Patterson, who's founder of HaySense Limited, which helps UK and Irish SMEs achieve their digital strategy through innovation, software and development. After Justin and Tim, we'll hear from Ros Young, who leads Derry and Strabane District Council's investment team to attract new investment to the city and region. And we'll finish up with Dr. Laura McCauley, who's a senior lecturer in marketing and associate head of department at Ulster University. And she's worked extensively in consultancy for over 20 years and has a practical and research interest in social enterprises. So really fantastic panel, really interesting topic in these challenging times that we have. And maybe without further ado, because I know we're on a tight schedule, if I could just hand over to you, Justin and Tim.
Okay, thanks very much, Paul. And yes, great to see so much interest in what we have to cover today. I suppose one of the things that we really want to get across to you today is the wide breadth of opportunity that there is with the technologies that are coming along at the minute. The Industry 4.0 initiative, I'm sure most people are familiar with, but it's viewed as the next stage in the generation of industry where we use technology to increase productivity, where we use technology to increase everything along the business channel. And that can be in a manufacturing arena in terms of machines out the door, but it can also be in terms of backroom operations, things like ERP linking, things like preventative maintenance, customer care, financial areas, and all the things that are associated with your businesses. So one of the things that we have to think about very early on is, how do I engage with Industry 4.0 and what can it do for me? And we have a short talk today and a short conversation that Tim and I will have around a project that we did, and it'll illustrate to you hopefully one of the things that is available whenever you engage with Industry 4.0 and whenever you engage with the university and other partners and companies that are there. And Tim's company HaySense is a perfect example of where Internet of Things and Industry 4.0 technologies can be employed to achieve better outcomes in your industry. So what we're going to talk about is a KTP project that we did. Now, KTP is Knowledge Transfer Partnerships, which are an Innovate UK or a UK government-sponsored program to allow companies to engage with academia, universities, and further education in some cases as well. And that funds part of a project that can take a year, 2 years, 3 years. and it's to develop a specific technology. So Tim and I and another colleague, Aidan McKay from McGee, embarked on this project with CDE Global in Cookstown. And along the way, we discovered an awful lot of things around Internet of Things. We discovered a lot of things around Industry 4.0. And I suppose that's what we'll try and get across to you. Developing these principles and developing the skills and technologies in your company is a journey. And every journey has to start with the small things and how we can do it. And there has to be a certain amount of time spent thinking within your company of how I can employ these technologies to best suit me or to best suit the outcomes I require in my company. So I'm gonna ask Tim maybe to outline who CDE are and who the team involved were in the project. The project was to create smart tech. So Tim, do you want to tell us a bit about what smart tech?
Yeah, so thank you, Justin and Paul, for your kind words. So firstly, a little bit of background about CDE Global. So they're an award-winning, won a lot of awards, supplier of equipment for the materials for material washing applications. So this includes applications like sand and aggregates. There's a lot of quarrying in Ireland and the UK, and that's one of the main markets. So sand and aggregate washing, industrial sands, and then construction and demolition waste recycling, and this idea of the circular economy is becoming a bigger and bigger area. CDE was founded in 1992 by Tony Convery, who's still the chairman today. We're headquartered in Cookstown. In 2018, stroke 19, they purchased the Caterpillar factory at Monkstown and turned that into a state-of-the-art manufacturing facility. There's various satellite operations then in strategic areas such as the USA and Australia. CDE has grown exponentially over this past few years, from a micro through to an SME and up now into a medium-sized company of around 400 people. They deliver projects across 8 regions in the world, in and around 80 million worth of projects per year. The team involved in the knowledge transfer partnership, Justin has already mentioned. So there was Justin that brought engineering expertise, and there was Aidan McGaggy from the School of Computing brought a lot of expertise in the software development side of things. There was myself as a KTP associate. I had a background in research. I worked as a research associate at Ulster University in Jordanstown for a number of years. And in the company, we had Kevin Valley, who was the head of product development, and Colin Bell, who was the head of electrical. And so the KTP sat within those 2 departments, electrical and product development. So it was nestled within a good place. In terms of resources within the company, there was real buy-in from the managing director right down. And I can honestly say that anything we needed within reason we got, and people were enthusiastic, and that made a big difference for us.
Yeah, Tim, and I think that's a really important point. And those 2 words, buy-in, really do illustrate what's required for any project going forward. Certainly a project that is strategic in terms of what we took on. So from an engineering point of view, and I think it's important that we try and divide it up, because Industry 4.0 and these sorts of innovation technologies are across all forms of industry. But from an engineering point of view, one of the things that we required in the project was data. I think it's important to realize that lots of engineers, lots of engineering companies, we have guys with lots of experience. They've built machines for quite a period of time. They know their machines inside out, and work with the notion that, yes, I know this product, I know this line, so I know what works and I know what doesn't work. One of the things that's important now is how we get data to prove that the feeling you have is correct. How do we get data to put numbers around the experience that you have? So, Tim, can you Can you kind of distill down what we were trying to do? I know we wanted project over a number of different levels. And how did you go about that, Tim, to try and satisfy that?
At the outset, the challenge that CDE faced was that they ship, I've already mentioned £80 million worth of projects. They ship these machines all over the world. And once they're commissioned and everything settled down, there was very little visibility as to how they're actually used in the real world without sending somebody out on site or giving the customer a call. And that impacted on CDE in terms of just this lack of quantitative data about the machines to help product development, to help marketing, and to help sales. There was also then increasing customer expectations. So people within the kind of quarry industry, for example, Caterpillar, were providing applications like this, and customers are starting to ask, well, why can I not get this with my CDE machine? And then there's also a realization that quantitative data can improve many business functions. So sales, for example, you can show a customer what your machine's capable of in the world remotely and via an app. Product development, if there's opportunity for heavy duty machines, if machines are being overutilized, then you might want to increase the strength of various components, for example, and then marketing. One of the first work packages was just the challenge of getting data out from the machines and then up into the cloud. We made a decision quite early on. It was a 2-year KTP project, and we wanted to make sure we got through the work packages assigned to us. So we tried to leverage third-party resources as much as possible. So with a bit of research, we came across a bit of kit that fitted quite nicely into the electrical panels of the machines and sent the data up to the cloud. And we decided to use the cloud as opposed to an on-premise server because it allows us to easily scale computing resources in proportion to the number of users, number of sites, and so on. So at the start, we only had 3 sites, but we could easily now scale to 100 sites or 1,000 just by using the cloud and that elasticity that comes with servers and databases and so on in the cloud. Additionally, you're able to leverage many of the cloud-based features. So we used AWS, Amazon Web Services. We were able to use their authentication. Moving forward, then there's lots of machine learning packages available in the cloud. So my key point here is that we leverage third-party resources as much as possible.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the takeaways from this, Tim, that what we did was not necessarily revolutionary. There are lots and lots of off-the-shelf products and companies, and I point directly at Tim here. There are lots and lots of off-the-shelf products and companies that will help you at the minute. We don't necessarily, and God, I'll be kicked out of the university for this, but we don't necessarily have to go to the academics to get all the answers. There are lots of available resources for you there. And this is about you adopting that innovative approach, finding the resources, and where needed with likes of Laura and myself, getting the guidance you need to make best use of those resources. So I suppose, Tim, the interesting thing is what did we end up with? We put sensors on machines. We gathered data. We gathered lots of data. We had signals coming from various parts of the machines. Can you illustrate to me, what did that look like at the end whenever we finished? What did it look like?
So at the end, we really engaged with stakeholders, both internally. There was really 2 streams of users in this. There was internal CDE users who wanted to use the data to help them in their role, whether that was sales or marketing or product development, but also very crucially, there's customers. And so we developed an application. It's a progressive web app, so it behaves as a native app, but it's a single code base. So we ended up with an app, and there's three main screens in the app. So there's a home screen where we tried to gamify um, the metric most people were interested in this scenario is tons and runtime, but that can be transferred to many applications, whether it's manufacturing widgets or whatever. But in this particular scenario, it was tons. So we gamified it a little bit. We enabled managers to set goals for their operators. So how long they should run the plant for, what tonnage they should aim towards for a given day. And so as soon as you log into the app, you get a very brief synopsis of your tons produced today, your runtime, any alarms, your utilization percentage, your availability percentage, and then some key consumable usage, for example, water and electricity. You can then move into a trend screen as the second screen. And in there you see a very simple graph, which just shows your tonnage against time. And I was telling Justin yesterday, it's quite simple, but when you install this equipment in a plant, you'll see very early on that usually around 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. there's a dip in tonnage, and it's quite intuitive that that's break times. And once you start to quantify that in an app and make that behavior visible to people, then management quite quickly realize that they're losing, maybe an hour a day just by not staggering their break times. You can plot various sensor values against each other to try and determine any relationships between sensors, for example, tonnage against a tank level. You can also export reports, so at a daily, weekly, monthly, or quarterly granularity. And you can go back longitudinally as long as you've had the app, you can get those reports. So that's that has resulted in people changing their behavior away from paper-based recording and recording things in spreadsheets to relying on the app and getting those reports at the click of a button. Because it's cloud-based and available on a web app, it's available to anybody anywhere in the world that has access to that. So let's say the manager's on holiday somewhere, he can quickly dip in and just check in and see if everything's going okay. And then in the last screen, there's a detailed view of the sensors. Again, we chart those over time and also the most recent sensor value. A couple of features on the side. There's a particular piece of equipment, and if that throws an alarm, it typically runs overnight. If that throws an alarm, it means the guys can't get to work as quickly as they could the next morning because they have to wait for it to clear. And so we implemented a text message functionality, so it's quite simple. Again, because it's in the cloud, we were able to leverage the cloud and the features provided by AWS, but that text message functionality has proved really, really helpful to the customers. So they will have someone on standby that they can go in and resolve the alarm in the middle of the night if needs be.
So I think, for me, I always like the simple approach to these things. And for me, it really made the machine and the plant alive. It made a connection between the plant and the plant owner. So at any stage, and we're talking, maybe a couple of million in investment in your plant, in your sand washing plant, you'll want to know how many tons per hour are going out. You'll want to know when they're going out. You'll want to know how they're going out, and you'll want to know what the productivity of your plant is. And at one level, that's a really good indication of what's going on. That can be transferred to a factory. It can be transferred to a manufacturing operation. It can be transferred to everything from the highest aerospace manufacturer right through to agriculture, because the process is largely the same. And, I think in summary for what Tim and I and Aidan went through with CDE and the guys at CDE, their local company, they had no real prior experience of IoT, which is this Internet of Things. They had a desire for more in-depth knowledge of their work. And I think we're in a data age. So we want, while it's very, very easy to get data, we're getting more and more and more of it. And that can be everything from your workers clocking in to what time they leave, to how many miles they move around the factory today, to how many miles they move around on a Friday afternoon, a Monday morning, and all those classic manufacturing management aspects that you would have in a company. And the project that Tim and I did certainly tried to capture that. And I think it was encapsulated in one of the statements that we had. There was that there's feeling it's right, and then there's proving it's right. And what our data did was proved a lot of the things were right and allowed us to change it. And it's multi-layered, because collecting the data can not only tell you what's going on immediately, but it can also then drill down into the very, very minute movements of some parts of the machinery. For example, temperature of bearings. I remember at the very start of it, we talked about, and my father was an engineer, and he would have walked past machines and put his hand on the bearing to check the temperature of it, and he wouldn't have told you what he was doing. But all he was doing was checking that bearing's hot, it needs changed, that bearing's an all right temperature, it's fine. Now we don't do that anymore, because we don't teach that in university, to put your hands on bearings. Now we put a sensor on it, and it gives you a temperature, and an alarm goes off if it hits a certain temperature, and so on. There's lots and lots of things that are available for you. You know, when you're capturing a picture of your process, of any process, and I'm interested to hear feedback on this, but when you're capturing a picture of your project, of your processes, of your factory or whatever, it must be opinion free. It must be free of the biases of the opinions that you have. And generally, the best thing that's opinion free are numbers. Numbers don't really have an opinion along with them. They can be dressed up and so on, but they give you a really clear view of what's going on. So, you know, in summary, when we do that, there's a lot of aspects to it that you can embed into your companies. And I think it's important that you think, first of all, what are the simple things I can do? Within the university, we have worked closely with the catapult centers, or these manufacturing centers in the UK. And, you know, the feedback from a lot of the projects that they have done is that really companies don't need to take in, you know, £500,000 worth of the latest robotics to make your productivity go up. We need to do the simple things first. For example, recording quality procedures. Is that done on a piece of paper? If it's done on a piece of paper, who manages all the paper? Who looks through the 40 sheets, 50 sheets that you have to find out what went wrong on product 6 4 months ago? With a database and an online system, you can find that with the click of a keyboard very, very easily. Otherwise, it's a time-consuming process. So there's lots of things there. It offers you the chance to have better processes in-house, and offers you the chance to have linked data streams for management. So management can make a more informed decision. And I think, and maybe Tim will want to comment on this, but we did our project with CDE a couple of years ago, and Tim's still with CDE a couple of days a week, working on various things linked to the project. One of the things that builds up over that period of time is your database of information. So you move from collecting information right through to, now I have all the information and I can mine that as a resource to predict what is going to happen next. That's the important thing, and that's where you get to. But for all the companies that are along the way here, unless you've been involved in the process of collecting your information and putting it in a form that can be easily interrogated, then we have to go through the collection phase first. So that artificial intelligence that you can put into your system comes later on down the line once we have collected lots and lots of data. So it's a process, it's a journey, you know, and there's some lovely graphics there around how you go on that journey, and how at the start you're just collecting information and you're wondering, well, this is telling me what's happening at the moment. By the end of that journey, the ideal situation is that your system tells you this is what could happen in the future, and here's the percentage a chance of that happening. So I always give mechanical examples, and if it is a mechanical example around, say, a bearing failure, a spring failure, an electrical washout, whatever, if you got a prediction that said there's 95% that chance that's going to fail in the next 4 months, it gives you the chance to plan in maintenance. It gives you the chance to reduce downtime. and it gives you the chance to work ahead with your customer before we hit the panic stages of my machine's broken, I need it fixed immediately. So there's lots and lots of options there for you. So
that's brilliant. I'm just conscious of the time. If you want to wrap up there, I just want to.
Yeah, no, thank you, Paul. We're just about to wrap up. I think it's one of the takeaways from this for the companies are engage with the KTP processes, engage with the company, and Laura has all the information around KTP, and I'm sure she'll be very happy to talk to anybody after. There are ways to do it. It spreads across the university in terms of business, right through to engineering, right through to computing. Engage with companies like Tim's. Engage with the offerings that PaySense and others can give you, because they will start you on the journey, and take skills with you. You need skills in your company to be able to do this. And they're provided now by nearly all your educational providers will be concentrating on computational skills, engineering skills, business acumen skills, and so on. So Paul, look, that covers basically what the project is. I do realize it's a lot of information to take in a short space of time. And we're both Tim and I and the team here are very, very happy to talk to any other companies that are there around the process and what we did and how it can help you and how we can organize that for you.
That was brilliant, Justin and Tim. Thank you so much for that. And it just brings me to mind when you talked about Caterpillar, and I was thinking of Komatsu, and I know that Komatsu are working on drone technology to try and work with driverless vehicles, because they've issues with getting drivers on these big in open cast mines and places like that. So the Internet of Things is just incredible how it moves so quickly, and the opportunities are just unbelievable really with it. So look, thank you so much for that short insight into it. I know we could have taken this topic all day, no bother at all, because it's so interesting. And thanks, Tim, again for your input there. So maybe I could just hand over to you, Roz, if that's okay, and take us to the next stage. Thanks a million.
Thanks, Paul, and thank you everyone for joining us this morning. I'm just going to borrow a definition of innovation from Roger LaSalle, which is innovation is change and it adds value. So I think the CDE story is testimony to that. So thank you to Tim and Justin for sharing that journey and showing that the benefits of adopting innovation for growth. So we know that studies show a solid link between investment, innovation, and profitability and growth. And innovation is at the heart of the City Region and Inclusive Future Fund investment plan. So this is a game-changing investment package from government of £250 million coming into the City Region. So a key driver for this investment is the opportunity to kind of address some of the historical economic challenges that we've faced here, including education, job creation, skills, but also innovation. And investment has been prioritised to support the region's priority sectors and projects that are going to deliver the greatest economic impact. And when we were preparing for today's session, Justin spoke about companies needing to start their innovation journey where it makes sense. I think that applies to our city deal too. So we're building and establishing 3 world-class centres of innovation and academic excellence in life sciences, data analytics, and advanced manufacturing. So these centres are building on Ulster University's strong track record, and they provide the key building blocks for our economic strategy for the City Region going forward over the next 10 years. And we're also then ourselves as council leading on 2 complementary projects around smart city and a digital enabling infrastructure programs as well. So also on the research innovation side, we're also transforming the central riverfront here in the city, the World City Experience, the DNA Museum at Ebrington, and the Strabane Town Centre regeneration. So we're not only boosting the economic potential of the region, we're also investing in making the City Region an even more attractive place to do business, to invest, and to come and study. So we want to retain the amazing talent that we have here, but also attract back talent into the region by offering better jobs and a high quality of life without the high cost of living. So that's more important now than ever. According to research, we know that innovation levels among our SMEs do tend to be lower in Northern Ireland than among SMEs in the UK overall. So central to the City Deal success is ensuring that there's a clear and achievable commercialisation plan for industry. And that's, the story from CDE Global today is a kind of strong recognition of that. So we want our SMEs and we want that multinationals operating here to take full advantage of that investment in research and innovation and expertise that we have here. Secondly, it's about developing the skills pipeline for the employment opportunities that are going to be created. And thirdly, it's around delivering social value and inclusive growth in the local economy so that local people benefit and prosper. So the City Region is perfectly positioned to make the most of the opportunities presented by the City Deal, not least by creating more jobs, but better jobs and improving the quality of life. So we're going to see 7,000 jobs by 2032. 70% of those are going to be local citizens. We're going to see a boost to the GVA by 230 million per annum and additional wages of 126 million coming into the city region. These forecasts, they don't include the kind of potential catalytic effect of the investment in the knowledge economy here already. And we're starting to see that, as evidenced by the ALMAC announcement yesterday. So for everyone here and everybody on the webinar this morning, it's a really strong message that there's a bright future for the region. So just to give you a quick update on the City Deal, we got the green light back in February with the signing of the heads of terms, and now Council, along with its delivery partners, that's Ulster University, North West Regional College, the Western Health and Social Care Trust and CTRIC, we're now working on the outline business cases, so they're going to be submitted to central government in February 23. So that's about demonstrating the value for money case for each of those. So within the next 3 years, you're going to start to see investment on the ground. So just kind of some final remarks, our economy has already been reshaped by COVID-19, so all sectors and geographies have not been affected equally. So SMEs are the bedrock of our economy here in the Northwest, so investing in innovation is going to be crucial, not just to business growth, but for a stronger and innovative and resilient economy here in the Northwest. So as we adjust to a new sense of normal and as hopefully the world starts to open up again, it's now kind of time to change behaviours and mindsets and business and practices. And as kind of quoting Justin again, simply start where it makes sense. So we are here to help. There are a wide range of supports, guidance and resources already been referred to this morning. So Council, we have our own business innovation and growth programme. The North West Regional College has a range of supports, and Ulster University, of course, and Laura is going to talk us through those this morning. So the message is it's a big bright future for the city region, and our doors are always open. So thank you.
Ros, thank you so much for that. I picked up a couple of things there. The City Deal, obviously we know, but more jobs and better jobs, I think, are the key phrases you made there as well, which is really great news. And that investment announcement with ALMAC yesterday was fabulous news for the region, and long may that happen. And the other thing I do notice as well, I'm getting phone calls from the US and Canada for potential investors into the Northwest. Just exploratory ones. I hear there's money being spent, you know, just the word is getting out there that there's lots of things happening, and it's gaining a bit of momentum. So it's great to hear, you know, I think we get a very positive momentum because of all the things that are going on, and the types of things you're communicating today as well will all help on that. So thanks so much, Ros, for that update. Laura, I'll hand over to you now, if that's okay.
Thank you very much, Paul, and thanks to everybody this morning. That's been very useful. I had some slides, but they're not actually working for me to share. So I'm just going to talk a wee bit about the fact that, you know, I'm from the Department of Global Business and Enterprise. So we are the business school at McGee here in the Northwest, and we've a vast amount of expertise right throughout the university, as Justin has already alluded to, in different specialist areas. And we're very much here to support in terms of this volatile and changing world. And we're here, our aim is to help you make a difference. And the very fact is reinforcing what Justin said in terms of the access to sources of support, regardless of how small or big your idea is. Talk to us, just come and talk to us. We are here because there's different options to suit different needs. I mean, and hopefully I'll get an opportunity at some point to talk about some of the case studies worked on from my own point of view, right across from manufacturing, the IT sector, social enterprises, food packaging, hospitality and tourism, medicine, everything from B2B, B2C, it doesn't matter. Support has ranged right across, as Justin has said, from something that's very innovative to something that's off the shelf. So it's very innovative for the company and the context that they're in. So, and we work cross discipline as well. So working with colleagues from engineering on developing muscle recovery plant and equipment, through to working with historians and cultural projects and heritage. How do you get this? How do you get the support for this? And it's really to talk about that there are various types of support right through from the KTPs, and the KTP is very much about a touch point it's more about a strategic development within the company. But that said, it's about anything from 12 to 36 months. It's part funded. There's an application process that tends to be continuous right throughout the year. We will help you look at the feasibility of your project, of your idea. Talk to us. We'll help you with the application process. We have a dedicated team within the university that do that, and they also help support that KTP process as it runs through with the associate and the academics there. it's very much, it depends. You've got your academic partner who come on board and support you. There are various projects that can be developed as a result of using a KTP, anything from significant innovation right through to something really new, to something just innovative in the context of your company. So it's about checking the feasibility and never assume that your project is not suitable. Because if it's not suitable for KTP, there's innovation vouchers, which are more about offering a stepping stone sometimes into a KTP, or to plug that gap in terms of having research and information that will help you make decisions. I mean, for us, it's very much about the data, again, and the research that's going to be turned into information that will help either inform a decision about what to do next, or indeed an alternative course of action. For example, it might be international development. It could be something to do with your data analytics in terms of supporting staff. Innovation vouchers are a very good way of supporting a company. They are £5,000 fund. You pay 20% of the VAT. There's a current call open at the minute through Invest NI until the 25th of June. There are some limitations around the suitability of companies in terms of applying for the innovation vouchers. And unfortunately, we don't have time to get into that, but talk to us. We'll help you in terms of looking at how suitable it might be for an application. Again, it's a competitive process, but very happy to help you with that. And you'll be provided with a report at the end that can help you maybe identify new sources of material, maybe look at potentially exploring, is there an option about a new way of working? It'll give you a bit of intelligence and a bit of research that may then help you to step into a slightly bigger project. So innovation vouchers would tend to be a smaller option. We also have our placement students who can be used as an additional resource that can be brought in an innovative way that can help support with some new creative enthusiasm around innovative solutions, maybe an innovative project as an additional resource. Again, heavily supported. So talk to us, please. We are more than happy to help engage and link our students. And we also have what we call our live lab, which is our postgraduate students who are doing live pieces of assessment, which are really about, they're an extremely valuable low-cost consultancy option in terms of a resource to companies, where students who are typically postgraduates at a critical stage and final stage of their studies would tend to get involved in some investigations, maybe around some critical strategic project that you've identified for your company, or an area of growth that you wish to explore. And each one, because you use one doesn't mean you're excluded from the other. You can use these as stepping stones. So as Justin says, maybe something very small, come to us and we can help you explore that, so we can bring it into a bigger idea. And if there's an opportunity there to help you strategically to grow this within the company and to support you to achieve your objectives, there's different support mechanisms. Regardless, it's about what your need is, and we tailor everything to suit your need, your opportunity, and your challenge. I had some details in terms of my contact details. I'm more than happy to act as a point of contact for anybody that wants to explore anything in terms of the sources that are available in terms of support, or indeed to explore ideas and have a conversation. I mean, that's what we do. We are in the business of helping business, and we would be delighted to take you through this process and to help you to achieve what you need to achieve. So thank you. I hope it was very much a whistle stop tour, Paul.
It was, but no, very well covered, Laura, and thanks so much for that. And look, there are plenty of questions coming in, and I can see that Myra and Anna have been working busily in the background, and there's a lot of sidebar conversations going on, which was exactly what this webinar is all about. But maybe I could just fire a question maybe to you, Justin. How do you make innovation accessible to all businesses of all shape and sizes?
Well, look, I think there are lots of roads into innovation. You know, Invest NI are there, Liam's on the call there with Invest NI, and they can advise you on methods and measures that they have to engage with innovation. There's the universities, obviously, and the further education colleges, and the companies that want to innovate. You have to go down the road. You have to have a solid look at what it is you want to do. And you have to have a plan for how you're going to be innovative. You know, there are lots of opportunities for it out there. And I think one of the best things to do is go and take a bit of advice to start off with. Come talk to the university. We're very accessible here with Laura, myself, other colleagues in engineering, and quite happy to take unsolicited emails and inquiries and everything around how I would do information. We are essentially the honest brokers, much like the other providers of innovative advice around how you can get involved. And trying to get through all the different methods that there are to connect at the minute is probably not within our time scale. But this can range from everything from linking in with European projects, where you're in with European colleagues as a provider partner, as a user case, as a user study, right through to coming in and spending one-on-one time with academics and colleagues where they will advise you directly on, it could be things like process technology, it could be things like managing your finances, it could be managing investments, it could be entrepreneurial advice. There lots and lots is there. So I think to ensure innovation takes place, talk about it, contact the people who work in it, and contact the university, and we'll direct you to where best you can get some help.
Brilliant. And Laura, I see you're nodding your head there in agreeing with everything that
absolutely. Yeah, and we are the honest brokers. I mean, it's about that feasibility, and it's about having the conversations. And sometimes one of the critical ways that I see that innovation is going to grow, particularly, in the back of the city, and particularly in the Northwest and beyond, is those connections, those networks. And as Justin has said, we're very happy to have those conversations, because it's particularly important to us to see that growth continues, and we inspire others to do, and we're happy to have those conversations.
Well,
yeah, and
go ahead, Justin. Sorry,
ahead. Paul. No, I think just as a comment, I came to Magee in 2013 to start up the engineering parts of the school, which I hadn't been at Magee for quite some time, and the development that I have seen in companies, in innovation, innovative practice, and all the development around the Northwest region is absolutely excellent. I really think we're on a good wave at the minute to push forward with development. There's companies coming into Campsie, there's new companies starting up. We have our Almac announcement, we have the city deal. It's a fantastic time to get involved, and it really is. I think it's a time for everybody to push forward, not just companies from the Northwest, province-wide. We have some fantastic skills at Magee, and with some fantastic connections to signpost you to companies like Tim's, to companies that Laura will know, to colleagues like Liam and Invest NI and many others. And I think it's really a call to take advantage of that.
Laura, maybe I could just place this question with you then. What are the barriers to find, or what are the barriers do you find that a company engaging in innovation? How would you rate the Derry and Strabane region in that regard at this time?
Absolutely. I mean, yesterday was just a flurry of announcements in terms of looking at companies that are growing, that are embracing new ways of doing things, and we're seeing the Northwest is really buoyant, and because of that buoyancy, the rest of the entire economy is growing and rising. Barriers are very much, often I find with companies that I deal with, it's a lack of confidence or ability to maybe articulate what the need is. And that's why those conversations are very helpful, because by having an informed conversation with an honest broker, it's really helpful that you can start to maybe see a different perspective on something. And often it's about a fear of failure. What if it doesn't work out? What if the idea isn't suitable? And again, it's that feasibility discussion and engaging the team. And one of the things that KTP is very effective at in the first stages of any KTP, and Justin will allude to this, is the buy-in from everybody within the company, so that it's not about you're helicoptering in this group of people that are going to change the entire company and forget everything that's previously been done. This is a critical part of growing the entire company, and everybody is a part in that. So it's about engaging not only your senior management team, but also the rest of your team to know that they have a part to play in that as well. That would be from the experience, and because we are very aware of that through that KTP process, it's actually a critical part of those initial stages that we get involved in.
Yeah, and I think just to add to that, Laura, one of the barriers to innovation and innovative practice in companies is that you're so busy getting product out the door. Friday is the target every week. 100 machines, 200 machines, 50 units, whatever it is. Friday is the target, and I think when you do engage with the likes of Laura, myself, with Tim, with Roz through the council and all involved, it can give you the breathing space to begin to take that idea that you've had late at night when you're still worried about what goes out the door on Friday, and really push it forward to the advantage of your business. So I think one of the barriers, I suppose, is time, Paul. But by having conversations like this and engaging in this is how we can hopefully navigate around that barrier for time, because we don't want to affect productivity in the company. Well, don't want to affect it negatively. Certainly positively would be super, but we want to give you the time to really realize the strategic aims that you have.
Yeah.
Just on the back of what Justin has just said, I think one of the things that's why that stepping stone approach in terms of some of the resources that we have available, you know, it might be to explore an idea, or maybe that lack of confidence, you need a bit of intelligence to inform that. That could be an innovation voucher, for example, maybe a live project to give you a bit more information to make you confident that that innovation is in fact something that's suitable, and it's not taken away from your time. It's an additional resource. It could be that placement student, for example, to do that intelligence gathering or research. So there are so many different ways to help alleviate and overcome those barriers. And we are there, as Justin said, to influence that positively as opposed to take away negatively.
And just a general question, how much of a time investment is this upskilling, say for employees and indeed the employer? And how would you convince people to do that upskilling? You mentioned it there, just about time and creating time when you have a busy schedule, you know?
It is, but the courses we run at the minute, for example, recently we've launched a degree apprenticeship along with the Mid-Ulster Engineering Network, the MEGA network. And we have real high hopes for that, because it's a new way of learning and a new way of upskilling the budding engineers within the region. I can see this going across to lots of people, but look, be very sure. The fact is you must upskill at the minute. The world is moving forward with this technology. We are moving forward as well, but the world entirely is moving forward with IoT technology, with linked technology. And if we don't keep up, we really will be left behind. And you know, I remember seeing, there was an American lady did a presentation to us in the university, and she said, if you look out your window and you see everybody moving faster than you, you are destined for failure. So please do engage with the idea that you must develop your skills, and we're here to help you with that. There's lots of short courses, there's master's courses, there are short courses, particularly in the Ulster Business School. There's MSCs and other courses that are there to upskill existing workers. And there's also a fantastic pathway through our education system that realizes the importance of Industry 4.0. That's why CityDeal is about. The likes of CARL, the Cognitive Analytics Research Laboratory, and CIDRA, the Centre for Industrial Digitalisation, Robotics and Automation, are aimed squarely at the requirements of industry. And we really hope that when we all come on board, this will be very successful for the region.
And Timothy, maybe I could place a question to you there, just in terms of business leaders, from your experience, what's the best way to achieve that buy-in? Is it the hard numbers? Is it the philosophy? Is it the opportunity? Where do you feel is the best place to put the focus on, or is it all a mix of those things?
Tim's on mute. You're on mute there, Tim.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm usually on mute, so it's great for me to be able to say that.
Sorry about that. I would say it's all three of those, Paul. Certainly, if you're to ask your managing director for a budget, they're going to want some financials, or at least a very convincing story on the kind of softer values. For example, I mentioned quantitative data to help sales and marketing and so on. Personally, I found once you get that initial go ahead on a project, if you can get user interface designs or wireframes to people as quickly as possible, that can really help achieve buy-in, because it really helps crystallize the vision and do something quite tangible. So I found that to be quite useful to do early on.
Brilliant. Brilliant. I'm just going through any questions there. Roz, was there anything else you'd like to add there just at this point, just in terms of, you were saying that a lot of interest. Are you finding that as well, that people are certainly looking towards the Northwest? Are you getting more contact from business development? I mean, obviously on the back of great news yesterday, but in general, do you find this, since the CityDeal announcement and that global, what would you say, communication we did not too long ago?
Very much so. Despite the challenges that we're all facing this last year between COVID and the EU exit, I mean, it's just put a greater profile on the city region and on our specialisms, you know, and we're starting to see projects and interest, particularly, you know, from life sciences, technology, and the manufacturing side as well. So we're all the partners are working collectively to kind of promote the city region, and getting the message out to industry. And particularly now, I think with post-COVID and that kind of transformation and in digital as well, the idea of remote working. So that very much for the message for people who are maybe away from home or maybe want to come back, that there are those models to set up your business as a remote hub, but also then to come back and work remotely and avail all the brilliant quality of life attributes that we have here. So there really is, it's a very positive message despite all the challenges that we have at the minute. We look forward to some more exciting projects coming in the city region now over the next 6 to 12 months as well.
Brilliant. That's brilliant, Ros. Thanks so much for that. I'm just conscious now of the time, and I'm just wondering, was there anything else, maybe Justin, you'd like to add at this point, or Laura, Ros, or Tim? Before, I know there's been a lot of, in the chat box, there's been quite a lot of information sharing there, and certainly we can put any links that are required there with the copy of the recording here this morning, and make sure that everybody who's on the call gets this, and we sent out to our members as well. So maybe Laura, is there any final words you'd like to add?
No, I would just like to say, get in touch. Really, we would be delighted across the university. And if I'm not the right person or Justin's not the right person, we'll signpost you to whoever is the right person to make sure that you get access to the resources that you need. And there's no question is ever not relevant. If it's a question in your mind, then we're happy to answer it. So please do, because these different support mechanisms, it's difficult to capture everything in 5 minutes, and sometimes you're overwhelmed. It's like standing at the beach and the wind's blowing and you're catching your breath. So please do. We are here to help, along with everybody else that's on the call this morning, Tim and Rosalind as well. And you know, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
No, Laura, thank you so much for your presentations this morning. And Justin, yourself, would you like to add anything to that?
Thanks very much, Paul. No, I think it's fantastic to see so many people involved in this sort of development. I think it's fantastic to see so many people engaged today and asking the right questions and asking for more information. That's how we exploit the opportunities that are within the university and the wider connections that are there, InvestNI and others. Exploit those opportunities, really do take advantage of them in the best possible way. We're here to help, and we will work with you and do it. And I think, you know, one of the things that you have to realize, Tim's a fantastic example of how KTP goes really well as a project, because he remains with the company. He put in an excellent piece of work with the company, and the company will look forward to developing that. But he also then sprouts his own business out of it, which we want that entrepreneurship in the region. We want that, you know, thinking in the region that, yes, I can do this on my own. I can assist industry that's there, but I can also do it on my own. And I think if we can all work together to grow that sort of innovative and entrepreneurial ecosystem, then we can really start to move. And it's not that we're in any bad place. You know, this region is excellent in terms of, and certainly punches above its weight in terms of what we do. But I think we can always be better, and we can always get more business, and can be more global, and we can attract more people to this area and increase everybody's quality of life. So,
yeah, and maybe Tim, I give you the final word there. If you had one piece of advice to give to our panelists and to our attendees this morning, what would it be from somebody who has actually done it?
It's been said a number of times, but start small and just build up iteratively. And that covers a number of bases, including getting the buy-in that you need across the company.
Brilliant, Tim. Look, I'm just going through some of the comments here. The feedback's been very positive. Great case study and update on what's happening at Council Magee. More of these, please. So that's an endorsement, which is brilliant. Thank you for a very interesting presentation. Lots of food for thought, and we'll be in touch. Thank you, panelists. A very informative webinar and an exciting time for NI, and particularly the Northwest as well. I think that really shone through, particularly with your presentation, Ros, as well, in terms of the opportunities that are there, which is brilliant. Dawn has come in with an excellent session. Thank you to all the speakers, very informative. And as I say, there's lots of context there, lots of very positive responses. So Look, I know how much preparation, and Myra and Anna, Myra, you're faceless there and you're on mute, but I know you're working behind the scenes there, busily pushing all the buttons and keeping us all together. I think we kept on time. I think we've got to most of the questions. And of course, if anybody wants to any more information, please contact our panelists today, ourselves and myself at the Chamber. We'll certainly connect. We'll connect you to the appropriate person. So without further ado, I think unless anybody else like to chip in, I just maybe call the session to a close. And thank you once again for all your presentations, and have a lovely day.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.